Hey there, '09 Sierras. It's OC Baker coming to you on this lovely Thanksgiving pass here. So I wear some nice civilian clothing for a change, and I'm here to give you the week or week and a half in review because I had a full week and then a half week because of Thanksgiving break. So I'm going to go in chronological order, from day one through the first week and a half or so. So day one, you got the good old Army apft test. So you got your push-ups, your sit-ups, your 2 mile run, all done right there on the OCS footprint. So you're going to have your run. It's going to be around the field, the kind of road, and you're going to run around 4 times, plus about 100 meters or so. And of course, how things are currently in late 2019 is if you are coming in active duty with a PT score, extended scale, 900,000, you are not going to class up because there's such a huge backlog of people who are currently in holdover. People who are currently in holdover, and you're not, you've been there 3+ weeks. You are not classing up unless you're getting like a 290 plus. So you could be there for a whole month and still not class up because there's just so many people coming in and there's such a backlog. And of course, this applies to active duty. But if you're in service, you're 33 and older, you're National Guard Reserve, you're going to have priority over even the holdovers. So if you're National Guard coming in that weekend, you're going to have priority over some guy who can't pass his PT test or he scores a middling score who's been there 6 months. Just kind of the fact of how it currently is and how HRC has been assigning OCs and how many '09 Sierras are currently in the system. So assuming you class up, congratulations. After that, you're going to have the infamous bag drag, or you're going to bring all your bags down to the field and you're going to just dump everything out and they're going to look for the stuff that's on the packing list, which is why I recommend that you have a bag that just has the packing list items and you have it all separated out in little Ziploc bags. So when they say, hey, we want to see your underwear, 6 pairs of underwear or whatever it is, you can just raise up the bag. And your other bags with personal items and civilian clothing or whatever, you can just have that another bag. Don't pour it out or whatever, or leave it in your car. And if you have access, well, you might not have access to your car, but it's a whole other story. But you want to have all your stuff in one bag so you don't have everything on the ground because you have time hacks for all this stuff. So you don't want to waste time. Get your battle buddies having to do push-ups for an extra 2 minutes that morning or whatever. So after that's all said and done, they're going to start making the platoons. And they're going to make the platoons. You're going to have a distribution of the National Guard, Reserve, in service. Females are all going to be split up proportionally. So they're kind of all equal in the kind of demographics of each of them. And once you've been assigned a platoon, they're going to be looking for student, first sergeant, XO, commanding officer. And each of the platoons, of course, will have a respective platoon sergeant, platoon leader, squad leaders, team leaders, and all these positions rotate out about every week. For us, because it was a week and a half, like a half week, all these positions just went for an additional couple days for to go into that Thanksgiving pass. So there wasn't like a half week for some people in these leadership positions. They just gave an extra few days to those people who were in those leadership positions for the first week. So I volunteered for the platoon sergeant position, and it was as they say, a learning experience. Maybe I'll talk in more detail later in another video about my experience as a platoon sergeant. I would say I learned more about my weaknesses as a leader than I did my strengths, but it was certainly a learning experience. I don't think I regret it. I think maybe it would have been better for me to have waited a week or two to see exactly what a platoon sergeant does in general, because I'm very ignorant about the Army and the military in general. So it would have been nice for me to kind of see how other OC candidates went about being a platoon sergeant, and I would have had a more informed idea of what I was supposed to do. But oh well, it is what it is. I learned a lot, and I'll be able to move forward in OCS not without having to do a platoon sergeant PL position. So I guess that's a weight off my back for a little bit. Even though I guess at some point in my career after graduate OCS, I'll be a PL full time or serve some of the roles of platoon sergeant in some capacity. But it was good to get that experience that first week, really kind of trial by fire. But again, I'll go into detail maybe in a different video about that. So after the leadership positions are assigned, the rest of the day is just briefings, some HR, marching a chow, setting kind of the ground rules. And really, that's pretty much the first week. It's your paperwork, making sure you're getting paid properly, getting set up with your E5 pay, which that E5 pay to kick in later down the line because it takes time. So you're going to get some back pay. You're not going to get paid that E5 pay immediately. You're not going to get that sweet extra $200 a month. It's going to take time for that to kick in. So they should at some point pay you back for that time. You should be getting paid E5 pay. So you're going to have your HR stuff. You're going to have your equal opportunity. You're going to have your sharp. Have all that great stuff about how you're supposed to treat the fellow candidates, other people, yada, yada, yada. I mean, it's important stuff that it gets, they're long days, they're important material about, respecting other people, not doing illegal and immoral activities. But that week does drag on because it is kind of just sitting in a room listening to these kind of information sessions, briefs over and over again. So try to stay awake. That's really the the kind of sentence that encapsulates the first week of OCS is try to stay awake. Then at some point during that week, you're going to have the acft. So you're going to do the great ball throw, deadlift, the new Army combat fitness test, woo hoo-ah kind of thing. Now, if you're a guy like me, shorter dude, who can run fast, do push-ups, and do sit-ups, but you suck at weightlifting or being coordinated, your PT score is not going to look as pretty. But if you're more a bigger guy, you actually lift weights. You're ready to go out there and you drag your battle buddy's body across the battlefield and lift and throw giant weights and stuff like that. It's a test for you. So they're going to conduct that as a kind of, it's not for score or anything. It's just there to kind of get a perspective of where people are at with this new PT test. So that I think later on they're going to have one at the end and kind of compare and see how people improve because they're trying out different PT to do in the morning and see which one leads to better acft scores. What we did as a platoon, again, or as a company, this is what you'll find at OCS is it's changing all the time. Each company does its own thing for the most part, or at least the ordering event of events. And a company might decide one cycle to do this at this time and at this time to do this. So instead of doing the Bolton obstacle course, which is the one where it's the rope climbs and all that, the monkey bars and stuff like that, we did the leadership reaction course. That's the one where it's more like puzzles. You're trying to, there's like a body of water and you have to try to carry objects and move your little squad across there using ropes or planks or even or your battle buddies, using them as a bridge, their bodies as a bridge across like a chain link water obstacle thing. So that's just kind of a fun afternoon. And it's a great way to kind of get into that phase of a group where you're coming together, you're learning each other's strengths and weaknesses, and you're actually utilizing those strengths and trying to minimize those weaknesses. Let's see what else. Of course, you have at some point take the OPAT, which is basically acft minus a bunch of events, and that's for pretty much everyone's going to max it. You get your 50 points. You do the stupid beep test. You throw the ball, whatever. Let's see. Of course, CIF issue. So you get to go to CIF and get your gear. And this actually was even less painful than the one I had at Fort Jackson, which it wasn't even that bad of a CIF issue at Fort Jackson. And here it was even a much smoother process than even that was. So that was good. Hopefully, Returning the gear is going to be as easy as getting that gear, but that's never the case. So I'll just hope for the best, I guess, 3 months from now. Also, another important part of the first two-ish weeks or so are the classes. So we had a military leadership class, and we had a leadership or leadership military ethics and justice class. So you're learning about it's really go on Quizlet. Someone, millions of people, well, not millions, but hundreds of people have made Quizlets for each of these tests, and it's pretty much the same questions every time. Doesn't mean to say fall asleep or just tune it all out, because there is good stuff in there. There's the stuff they go over about being a leader, about ethics. They're important things, and I think the best thing that one of the speakers, the chaplain, said is good leaders are readers, and that's the truth. I think you should use these lectures, look at the sources where they're coming from, and then your own personal time, go out, read those books, find those materials, those FMs, FM 6-22, and branch out and really learn the profession of being a leader in the Army. So use that. The tests, I haven't done I'm taking the test on Monday. I foresee it to be rather easy, and I believe everybody's going to pass. I don't see anybody failing these tests. So try to stay awake, try to stay interested. That's all I can recommend for the first week. And also try to have your paperwork together if you have time if you're in service before you come here, or if you're at HHC, try to have as much of your paperwork on hand, ready to go, so that all these kind of like, oh, you have the wrong orders, oh, this doesn't match this, that you have your paperwork to prove that you're not getting paid properly, or you are who you say you are, that kind of stuff. Try to get all that knocked out. HHC, maybe if you're having some slight whatever medical issue or whatever, you want to try to get that resolved before coming here so you don't get put on profile and then kicked back to HHC or whatever. So I would say the first week at OCS, it was exactly as I expected it, not too dissimilar to the first week anywhere, even at a professional job. Got all your HR briefs, kind of getting introduced to the process, getting to the swing of things. The only thing I can really recommend is, besides staying awake, is to not stress out too much. You have to get a lot of things ready, get your room up to SOP, and depending on your company, it could be more or less stressful. But I think for me personally, I stressed out more than I really needed to. Maybe if I was in a different company with more stricter standards, that stress would have been validated. That would have made sense. But for my company, Delta, I was stressing out a little bit too much about certain SOP things and getting things together than I should have. But yeah, first week in review, pretty darn good. I'm excited. We're going out to Land Nav next week on Monday after our test to go there into the field and camp out under the rain and cold, and then early in the morning wander around and get lost in the woods like any real officer candidate or LT would. So that's it. First week and a half at OCS in review, and I hope to see you guys next time.